How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I'm glad we're finally able to do this, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, where are you right now? What is
I'm in I'm in I'm in Ottawa, Ontario.
Okay.
So I'm living in Ottawa. I'm from Montreal originally, but I've been here for about 10 years, so I've just kind of stayed here. Where are you
Nice.
right now?
Toronto. Yeah,
Yeah.
Toronto. Yeah.
Born and raised or
No, from Saskatchewan. Originally Saskatoon. I moved out here a few years ago.
awesome.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying the content you're making, man. I think I've never, like me personally, like I haven't made this much content in a while with just being at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's really all you can do. I feel like people are once they get to the bottom of Netflix and all the movies and things, it's like, yeah, I think this is a great time to like make stuff and engage people, and I think that's what people really want too, is they want to, get their mind, off of things and whatnot. So it's a good try, to even try out new stuff. I know my first time doing an Instagram live was only a few weeks ago, and I think a lot of people think the same. I don't think anyone's done Instagram lives, and all of a sudden everyone's doing them. So yeah.
Well, you were like one of the first guys that I saw, like, because I was doing them, and I saw you did them a little before I did. Like, you were like the first one. Like, I would say Tanner Zipchen is one of the first guys to do like the consistent IG lives, man.
Yeah,
You have that over everyone. You have to keep that.
yeah, I did it for a week, and then I had like a weekly guest on every day, and then I noticed other people were doing it, and then it became a point where like every evening, like across the entire top of your feed was everyone like going live.
Dude, yesterday was nuts. Yesterday there
Yeah,
was like 19 lives. I'm not even kidding you, like on my feed.
yeah. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just like pump the brakes a little bit, give people a break. So yeah, I might bring it back. I got a few other friends and things that want to do with me coming up. So yeah.
Are you doing anything with the content? Like, are you saving them and putting them anywhere?
Right now, it just goes on my profile, and I mean, it's every 24 hours. But I don't know if is there a way of
There
downloading?
is. So I put my lives on like all my there's an Instagram Chrome extension that lets you download
Oh,
them and they don't even have the comments. I'll send it to you afterwards. But that's what I've been doing. I've been posting them like on YouTube basically.
nice. Okay, well, I'll have to do that because I've just been like, it's been kind of just living on there for a day or whatever, and then it's been disappearing. So,
I feel like this might be a bit different for you because you're usually the one kind of asking the questions, right?
yeah, usually I'm the top. I'm on the top window. So this is
Because I actually have some questions. What's your ideal kind of icebreaker question when you interview people? Like what's the kind of vibe you go through? You obviously maybe have your talking points, your questions, but what do you kind of do to like start it all basically?
usually I try to crack like a really bad joke, some kind of like dad level joke that usually gets like, depending on the person, sometimes more laughter than it should. Sometimes it's like, oh God, it's gonna be one of these interviews, won't it?
Well, I happen to have a bunch of dad jokes on cue cards right now.
Dude, those are great. Yeah, I love a good dad joke. A good pun is always great. Sometimes I like to break the ice with like, I feel like everyone compliments people. I feel
Hmm.
like everyone likes to go in and go, "Oh my God, you were great. I loved you in this movie." I sometimes take a different approach, and I'll go in and be like, "Yeah, honestly, you were okay."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like kind of like yeah, I guess set the mood a little bit. Yeah, me, I always ask like I like on my show Popternative, and I kind of interview like a lot of different people. I interview people from sports, from pop culture. Like I interview all bunch of people. I kind of start with like the storyteller question. I kind of ask them when they decide they want to be kind of storyteller or kind of work in the field they want to work in.
Mhm.
Because then based on what they kind of answer, then I kind of like use a talking point and say, okay, we're gonna go this direction. You know what I mean? So if
Oh
someone
yeah, yeah.
says that they enjoy doing theater, you know what I mean? We talk about theater a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
as far as like, yeah, first question for me, it really depends on what the point, I guess, is, or what it's for. Like if I'm doing it on behalf of an outlet for something, and they need a specific story to be told, then we kind of like, depending on the time, like a lot of times with press junkets, you've got 4 or 5 minutes, so you got to kind of what you want to get out of it, and then you got to really kind of get to it. But if it's
yeah.
something for like, yeah, like my YouTube channel or something like that, like I have a bunch of videos posted that are like longer form that don't have to really necessarily stick to anything in particular, then yeah, I come at it with differently usually, and more of like on a grounded level. I don't really jump into like the business stuff right away.
Yeah, absolutely. You've done some pretty cool lives the last couple of weeks, though. You had some guys from Power Rangers. You had Paul from Kim's Convenience. Like you've done some cool. You've had some cool guests. Who are some kind of notable guests that
Yeah,
you enjoy talking to?
yeah. Paul's a friend of mine. I just was going through my like phone list and being like, who's some friends from the industry that would want to do these? And I had a bunch of people that said they would, but it was after like at the week cutoff. So I might do a second round coming up and bring some more people out. But yeah, like Paul from Kim's Convenience, Doug Jones, who's like an amazingly talented actor who's really played a character probably in everyone's favorite movie. Like he was in everything from Mimic to The Shape of Water to Hellboy, and he played the Silver Surfer.
Mimic scared the hell out of me when I was younger.
Yeah, Doug was the guy. He was one of the like bug creatures in Mimic, and I think that was actually his first time I think meeting Guillermo del Toro before they really kind of started working together. And he had like his first scene was like he had to lean on the edge of this building, and that was it. And that was like, and then after that, Doug and Guillermo became
So is he the
inseparable.
guy who like basically devours the two kids in the subway
Yeah,
station?
he might have been. I don't know how many.
Okay.
There were more than one actor, but he
Do you
might have
remember
been.
that scene? That
Oh
scene
yeah,
scared the crap out of me, dude. Like,
yeah. That was shot in Toronto, I believe. Yeah.
yeah.
So, which is cool. When I moved here, I was looking at all these like films that shot in the city, and it was like more than you think. Like there's so many. Toronto doubles as so many cities, like Chicago, New York. So just because you're watching a movie, you're like you think it's New York. Don't be fooled.
It's pretty cool because I'm from, like I said, from Montreal. Before I kind of got into a lot of the public relations communication stuff, in sports and entertainment, I did the CEGEP, I did Dawson College, the Film Cinema Communications program.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool that a lot of like my classmates at the time, like 7, 8 years later, they're in a bunch of really cool like Netflix shows. You know what I mean? Like Lock
Yeah.
and Key, and some shows on the boys on Amazon. Like it's pretty cool to see that. And a lot of them are filmed in Toronto. So
Yeah, it's cool. Hold on a sec. We got Thomas on the bottom. What's up? I'm gonna say hi to Thomas and Perry. Give me a hey. So what's up, Perry? But yeah, Toronto's like it's crazy. It's hard. It's a little uncertain now with everything going on. All the productions have halted. So hopefully things will work themselves out and then we can get things going again. But yeah, everything in the industry has been completely frozen right now. So.
do you have that list of like 2 or 3 people that you really want to interview that you haven't had a chance to interview yet? I'm sure everyone has those lists.
Yeah, for mine has been whittled. Luckily, like I've been whittling it down over the years. It was like
That's
a lot of
awesome.
the original Jurassic Park peeps, which I feel like are mainly crossed up. I got Sam Neill last TIFF, and so that Laura Dern about a year before that. Jeff Goldblum a few times at a few different events and things. So if it hit that, I got Dwayne Johnson last fall. I feel like all the original Star Wars cast. So I've run into all the Comic Cons that I've done over the years. I've managed to I think I hit everybody. Even Carrie Fisher, I got to host 2 panels with her just a few months before she passed away. So we spent a few hours in a few different cities together, which was really cool. But I think what's left, yeah, because of the Jurassic Park stuff, I would say Spielberg is cliche, but everyone's got to everyone wants to interview Spielberg. He would definitely be on that list for sure.
That's a good one.
I throw Tom Hanks in just for fun. Tom
Hanks for sure. Dwayne Johnson's on my list, definitely. That's pretty cool that you got.
He's very humble. He's a very grounded, humble guy. When I ran into him, he was with Kevin Hart, so that's a whole different dynamic. I think when he's beside Kevin, but yeah, he's a really chill, reserved guy. He's really cool.
So you've done a lot of these interviews, at events. You deal with them. I just do you find there's a lot of kind of like a lot of people don't kind of realize the behind the scenes of sometimes how hard it is to kind of put these interviews together. Like sometimes it takes a while to book them.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go through so many hoops. So you have to go through publicists and managers. I don't think people realize that sometimes, man.
Yeah, no, when I started doing it, I was hosting my own radio show. So it was you were producer, you were everything. You were editor and you were the host. So you had to line the opportunities up, and you had to get other people on the show to leverage for other opportunities. And it's a grind to get it going. And even with the stuff I did, on the big screen, it's a lot of times I would go to a press junket and I would have one one person on the schedule to talk to, and there might have been 5 or 6 people at that press up. Even my very first junket was for The Big Short, and it was Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Christian Bale, and I was told I was getting one of those people, and I was going all the way to LA, and I was living in Saskatoon at the time, and I was connection through Calgary and then down, so it was about like quite a long bit of traveling and a lot of airport time. Then you got there and you saw the movie, and it just seemed like crazy to me that I would go all that way for one interview. So then that's when I realized at that point, I'm like, there's still going to be a large element of this is going to be like what I do on the ground and like my own self-producing. So, I talk to people, get to know publicists, and then they're like, well, actually we had some cancellations. And all of a sudden I'm in with Christian Bale, and then they slid me in with Ryan Gosling. And I think I was the only Canadian outlet to get Ryan at that press opportunity, which was cool. And then I ended up getting everybody. I talked to Steve Carell and everyone. So, but there's a lot behind the scenes. It's not just like, here's a schedule, go and do it. So it's even if you're representing a big company, there's still a big element of it is what you are able to accomplish.
In terms of also like the interviews though that you're doing like from remote, right? Like the interviews do your Instagram live or like a radio interview or something like a podcast interview. I mean, you met these people, these guests before, and you established relationships with them, and you asked them to come on the show. Do you find it kind of easier sometimes to go like through the guest, like obviously, but sometimes you might have to go through other hoops, right?
Yeah, there's publicists, managers, things like that. A lot of the Instagram lives I've been doing is just like personal contact with people, which is good because it's the more people involved, the more complicated it gets, and like time zones, and there's like I know I dealt with that a lot in radio, where like the manager, the publicist might have given the wrong time zone, so then the guest is expecting like 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's actually Pacific, and now there's this like disconnect. So
there's been some situations too where because Popternative, it's a video podcast, right? I put them audio as well, but like it's video, right? It kind of looks like this, you know what I mean? And some people don't even like realize it's video when I go through publicists. Like they like show up, and like I get a message from the publicist being like, oh no, it's not going to happen right now because my client didn't know it was video. And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there's a whole behind the scenes thing that people don't really get to understand. And then there's like, once you're doing the interview, that's a whole other thing. So there's like the setup, which is one thing. And then once you're in the chair, then it's like having done the research and having prepared for that moment, which is a whole another thing. Because like for myself, I research and I don't really prepare specific questions per se. I kind of just go in knowing as much as I can know so I can take the conversation anywhere. Yeah. So that's the whole thing too, and that takes a lot of like time and stuff. So which is weird because at the end of it all, it might only be like a 4 or 5 minute conversation sometimes, but you've put hours of prep and then hours of travel. Like I've flown all the way to like London, England for one 4-minute interview. So you literally spend longer in the air, and I've spent longer. There's been times where I've spent longer in the air than I have spent in like England. And then like you spend 24 hours almost traveling to spend 10 hours on the ground, do a 4-minute interview, and then you're like all the way back home, and it's like 3 days have passed, which seems like crazy. Or like, but then you realize how important those 4 minutes are. There's a lot riding on those, those 4 minutes. So
someone says, could they get a shout out for their friend Arisa?
Oh, Arisa. Yeah. Shout out to Arisa. Is that right? Did I say it right? I think, Mary. Let's hope so. Yeah, would be the only people in the theater and clap when you appear. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, the clapping. I've never been in the theater when that happened. I heard people have either yelled things at the screen or have clapped. I've always wanted to like be in the theater. I saw a lot of my movies at pre-screenings, either at a press junket or whatever. So I didn't actually go to like public screenings all that often, but I've heard rumors of applause and clapping and heckling. I've always wanted to be in the theater when someone's like, "Oh, this guy's the worst," and then I can.
Have there ever? Because you're obviously a big movie guy too. Like you go to movies all the time. Has it sometimes happened when you were in like a movie while your like pre-show is on, and then someone turns to them and they're like, "Oh, it's Tanner."
Having a few, yeah. There's been a couple times where like it's on and people like do a double take, and it's a strange thing when you're like I remember I was just going through photos recently for whatever reason, but I did this thing with Viggo Mortensen like almost 2 years ago now. And while we were like finishing our Q&A, the pre-show started for the next movie. So then like I was on the screen and there was like still, it was just this really awkward moment. And then like Vigo like turned to, he's like, oh, that's you. And then he like started watching the show. I was like, no, it's good. We don't have to watch this. We can, let's leave now. It's a strange thing to see yourself that big. Like it's like your head is like 20 feet tall. It's a strange thing.
Well, I've been a big fan of your like kind of like, it's funny that you said that, you do your research and then you kind of, you don't really sometimes prepare specific questions, but like I've kind of have to say, like I've followed your interviews for many years now, and I kind of like modeled that a little bit after you, to be honest with you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, no, you're a really good interviewer, man.
Yeah,
you're really good at it. I love it.
It's tough too with like a lot of the stuff that we would do. Like it ends up being, with the stuff I did for like the pre-show, it was all cut into a minute piece, which means out of that minute there was trailer footage and stuff like that. So sometimes people were only really seeing 20 to 30 seconds of the actual interview, because you've got to put in all the other stuff. And then, looking at the interview as a whole, it might have been 5 minutes. Sometimes if I'm on set, it might have been 15, 20 minutes. So there's a lot of stuff out there that, they obviously want to sell tickets to the film. So they put the stuff that's going to like, they think sell the most tickets, but all the like fun outside the box personality stuff, unfortunately, a lot of people haven't seen over the years. All these moments that I was, super proud of kind of got lost in it all. But hopefully at some point people will see all the cool stuff and all the fun stuff. But yeah, there's been a lot of fun times over the years.
No, absolutely. I thought it was pretty cool because I went live with, Paul from Kim's Convenience, and it was one of those where there was like a lot of people like tuned in for that. It was nuts. Like I couldn't keep up, right? Like people are coming in. Yeah. So at one point, not knowing that you were kind of watching it for a little bit, I kind of just name dropped you, and I was like, Tanner is like killing it on these lives.
Yeah, I have. I saw Paul was live, so I clicked on Paul's thing, and I like it literally was at that exact moment. It was the weirdest thing.
And I didn't even see that you joined, and then all of a sudden I just see you like, thanks guys. I'm like, oh snap! Like Tanner is like tuned in. That was pretty cool, to be honest with you.
It's funny when people like drop in and drop out. Like I saw a funny meme the other day. It was like, I think it was that. There's a video of Celine Dion who like stops to listen to that girl sing, and then she kind of gives like one of those looks and then drives away. And it was like when you click on someone's live and then you click off right away, because people like but literally go through and you'll see like people will join and then they like and then they're like on to the next one. So I happened to just like I literally was like dropped in, and then I was like, wow, what great timing.
I know it was, but sometimes though, like I'm like you said, the dropping in, dropping out. I get a bit like there was a few that like you dropped in afterwards, and like I gave you a shout out, but you left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that happens now where I'm kind of worried. Like I wait a good like
you wait
5 minutes. Like no, it happens with so many people, man. And then like I'll text them and I'm like, oh, did you hear your shout out? And my friend's like, no, like I left, like like I opened and closed it. So I'm careful now with that a little bit.
I feel bad when I watch, like if I go on Instagram to check something or whatever, read a message, and then I like accidentally click on someone's live. I at least watch it for a couple minutes just so I feel like I'm not just like ditching after 2 seconds, and then in case they were like, oh hey, and then I just completely missed it. So I try to linger for at least a few minutes if I click on it.
No, absolutely. What kind of things have you've been talking about a little bit? I mean, you let us know in your Instagram stories, but movies and shows, especially like on Netflix, like what's kind of on the list of stuff you finished or you're gonna start? Like anything? Like what are your plans for the weekend? Are you gonna watch anything specifically?
There's a lot of catching up on. Like we finished Schitt's Creek. I mean that show wrapped this week already. I can't even remember what day it is anymore. McMillions, which I started, I'm not finished. It's getting crazy. It's getting very technical. A lot of that's a whole thing. There's a lot of we're just like really going back and watching like kind of old movies and like dipping into the nostalgia, trying to like stay positive, I think, a bit too, more on the comedy side and some of the hidden gems than a lot of people are watching like Chernobyl and all these other shows and stuff, and I'm like, it's a little bleak.
I'm watching a lot of like comedy now. Yeah, like I finished Ozark. Yeah. Which was pretty awesome, but I'm rewatching Kim's Convenience.
Nice.
There's a show, the same like a show on Netflix. It's kind of crazy. Like it's funny, but it's called Bruise Brothers. That just dropped.
Well, speaking of Netflix, Cameron Brodeur just said what's up at the bottom. So Cameron plays young Luther on Umbrella Academy. So
That's
there you go,
amazing.
Cameron. Thanks for saying hi, bud.
Well,
And
is he still in the chat?
I don't know. Hopefully,
I'm gonna check.
Cameron was also in Midway. I don't know if you saw Midway that just came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the opening sequence. He's the guy going across the rope, and like all the ships are like being sunk in the harbor, and he's going across. Yeah, there you go. I miss you, man.
That's
I miss you
awesome.
too, buddy.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
That happened. I think you know what, man. It's funny because I've been getting so many guests for situations like that. Like I was just on with like my friend Spencer Garrett, and then who was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's the one that interviews in the beginning of the movie. He's the one that interviews Leonardo DiCaprio,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, it's
That's
like a
cool.
small. So while we're doing it, like Chris Williams, who's an actor who's like in Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he was in Dodgeball, and he's in Silicon Valley. He like shows up, and he was like, "Hey guys, what's up?" Right? And then Spencer's like,
Nice.
"Yeah, Chris, you got to come on live with Pete." And then like we went on live like the day after. Like it's pretty cool when that
I
happens.
wish we could do more than like 2 people. I feel like there should be an option to add more.
Well, I do. So here's the thing. I'm gonna obviously message you about this, but like I do a lot of like panel, like on Popternative, I do a lot of panels. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So one day, like when you're busy, we could do like I do a lot of pre-taped shows where like I interview a bunch of people. Like it's like a panel discussion. It's really cool.
Nice. Cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad we were able to do this for a little bit, man.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot for having me, man. It's been fun to be on the other side of things for
Yeah, I know. I saw your tweet. That's the first one you did, like being on the bottom. So
yeah, it's a weird. It's like there's like
started
2
at the
comments
top.
around.
So your situation basically is like you started at the top, but like now you're there, right?
Yeah, it's like it's like the opposite of Drake. I started
Yeah.
from the top and now I'm at the bottom. The weird, the comments are now on my
Hey,
thing.
Charles. So Charles Hamlet, Olympic gold medalist in speed skating. He's just joined in.
Oh, nice, very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been getting some cool, like you've been getting everybody, TV, athletes, film.
Yeah. Have you seen some of my YouTube? Because
Yeah, I
like
checked it out.
okay,
Geez, you've been
over
busy, man.
250 episodes, which is crazy. But yeah, man, no, it's one of those things where I'm able to obviously save these lives right now, so I'm posting those here and there too.
Yeah.
Sometimes the connections don't work out, so it's kind of hard sometimes too, because I don't want to edit these as much as my pre-recorded episodes. So
Yeah.
if the connection's kind of not that good, I might not post it. But obviously people could follow you on Instagram. They could follow you on Twitter as well, right?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, post stuff on. I mean, I used to post more on YouTube. I feel like me and my crew are like on complete hold for new YouTube content now because we haven't been able to like get together and shoot anything, unfortunately. So we'll get that going as soon as we can, safely leave our place. But yeah, Instagram, I've been giving away a lot of like digital, movie date nights and things, so you can like watch a movie with somebody else remotely. Well, it's giving away download codes if you guys want to win some free movies. Yeah, give me a follow and check it out. So yeah, doing what I can, putting out stuff, doing some more Instagram lives and things like that. So yeah.
Have you seen any of those like live tweeting, like viewing parties for movies?
Yeah, I did one recently where we went back and we watched some Canadian content with
How did you do it? Because a film reached out to me, this film on Amazon video called Half New Year. Pretty cool film, like an indie, like just like an indie fun teen comedy. They want to do one and me like host it, but how like they wanted to know like I don't know how it would be done, right? Like if I'd be watching the movie and then they would live tweet, like I don't know.
Yeah, you basically like sync it up. So whatever you decide what time you hit play, so everyone hits play at like 7:00 and then it's all at the same time. So then you just tweet along and then everyone's kind of on the same page. So I guess it's the same as like with what I'm doing, giving away these like virtual movie nights. So I'll give away 2 digital copies of a movie. So it's up to, whoever it is to like call each other and hit play at the same time. So you guys can watch the same movie. And then you can like FaceTime while you're doing it or whatever, so that way you're on the same page. But it's a similar thing with like the live tweeting and stuff. So just as long as everyone's on the same hits play at the same time, then that's it.
Because I think it would be cool if it would be like me watching it and I'd be able to like have the movie playing and then people can kind of like tweet that. Like I don't know, like I feel like I feel like I've seen people do that too, like on Facebook Live, like they have like the
Yeah,
movie playing.
I think there's like a Zoom. Zoom has a
Yeah,
feature where you can do the screen view my screen and stuff. So maybe there's a way through that. But I mean, yeah, with this, we're just kind of figuring out all this. No one's, I think, really done these like lives and Zooms, and there's a house party app everyone's using now, which is pretty fun. So it's like it's all new. It's all new for everybody.
I know, it's wild, man. Well, honestly, man, thank you for taking some time to do this, man. I really appreciate it, and keep up the great work, man. You're an inspiration with your content. I love it, man. I
Oh,
follow it
thanks,
all
man.
the time.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate
Yeah,
it, and all the best. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Don't
yeah.
don't cough on somebody. And
Yeah, well, my dad is, my dad works in public health, right? He's the chief medical officer of Health for Eastern Ontario, so
wow.
I'm told that a lot to wash my hands.
Yeah. Well, you gotta like but yeah, props to your dad for doing that work, because it's
Yeah, it's
every day like,
nonstop.
where I'm living every day at 7:30 we get out and everyone applauds the frontline workers and the medical workers. So it's yeah, crazy times, but hopefully we can do this we'll do this in person next time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll connect for sure. Thanks for everyone that watched. Really appreciate it. And be sure to follow Tanner if you don't already. He has some good content. See you,
All right,
Tanner.
buddy.
Thanks a lot,
Take
man.
care. See you
Yeah,
later.
bye.
Bye-bye.